What's up, everybody? This is Classic Black Dude, brought to you by your host, me, Clark Jones, a.k.a. Pod Strickland. On this show, you get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you care about what's happening with black people and how we really feel about things and not just what we say in public, this is the show for you to tune into. Interviews, we play games, and we really get in the inside stories of everything that's happening, and we get it from the perspective of funny people, from serious people, people that matter like politicians, and people who don't matter like comedians who I just love to talk to. You get to see the underbelly of everything happening in black culture. Make sure you subscribe to Classic Black Dude on all streaming platforms. This is your host, Clark Jones, a.k.a. Pod Strickland. Listen up, Classic Black Dude.
You are listening to Any Given Sunday, a part of the Dead End Podcast Network. Please subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Spotify, Google, and all other podcasting services. Please make sure you check out Dead End Hip Hop, Dead End Sports, Dead End Gaming, Is the Mic Still On, Chris Platt's Strictly Hip Hop and Hoops Talk, and a host of other shows on our podcast network. Thank you for listening and enjoy the show. You are listening to Any Given Sunday for Sunday, November 17th, 2019. I'm your host, Manny Brown. What's up, everybody? Hopefully you guys had a happy, safe, blessed week. My guest this week is a guy that I've been working with for a few months, building a good relationship with him. He is the co-founder of Unwrapped Sports. If you have not checked out the website or all the content that is provided by Unwrapped Sports, you are missing out. Mr. Perry Aston, first time on the show, first of many times, I hope. Perry, welcome to Any Given Sunday. What's good, my man?
Manny, what's up, buddy? Thank you so much for having me and for all your kind words. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
No doubt, man. No doubt. I like to talk to interesting people, so you're definitely one of them. It was only a matter of time that I was going to have you on the podcast. So just figured it was a good week to have you on, man.
Great week with our schedules too. Worked out really well. So yeah, thank you so much for thinking of me.
No doubt, man. How's the life of Unwrapped Sports, man? How's the business?
Unwrapped Sports is great. As you guys know, Manny's been partnered with me for a few months now. He's one of the family members at Unwrapped Sports. So I'm sure you've heard from him throughout his awesome podcasts and different content that he puts out. But from us, just a lot of fun at Unwrapped Sports Network, a lot of great content that we're trying to always put out. Bunch of different ways. As you know, we got our live streaming at sportscaster.com/unwrapped. So that is so much fun. I'm really hoping Manny gives that a shot for me this month and kind of see him on a little live video. That would be really fun to see. So that's something that we've been really excited about the last few months. Other than that, you know what it is. Podcasts, different people writing articles, beautiful website. Shout out to our web team. You can find that at unwrappedsports.com. But yeah, just a lot of great content coming out with great people. And at the end of the day, that's just the American dream, if you ask me.
Definitely. Before we get into Unwrapped and kind of your motivations to starting it out, you've listened to the podcast before. I always like to have first time guests introduce themselves to the world, may not know you, may not follow you, may not know your background or whatever. So just kind of give the audience a brief introduction to who Perry Aston is.
Sure. I am definitely, as you know, the co-founder of Unwrapped Sports Network. We actually started that in January. I've been podcasting for years, but the network itself started in January. So it hasn't been around for too much time. It's just been a pleasure to have the growth that we've had within the last 10, 11 months, and looking into 2020, it's going to be so fun. But for me personally, before coming up with this, I was a podcaster. I do restaurant management. So I'm still running around in there, hopefully not for too much longer. I can able to pay myself and continue to take those steps forward with Unwrapped. But I still, I love the restaurant business. That's always a fallback for me. I'd always love to open up my own bar. Something you may not know about me, I was actually professionally DJing for about 3.5, 4 years. Then switched into podcasting. Yeah. So I was DJing for a while, did a little bit of producing, but mainly live DJing and different shows. And I was traveling a bit and having a lot of fun in college as well. But that was going to be my route for a bit. I was DJing. So I love the musical side of things. I think that's why podcasting became so seamless for me, the whole editing side and everything. But for me, I'd be editing for 10 hours of podcast. So I'm just too much of a perfectionist when it comes to it. So yeah. I'm glad I'm not doing as many podcasts anymore, editing, so I can focus on, the network and things as a whole. But the whole editing side, it's soothing to me. I love it. I love the audio part of anything. And I think, me going from DJing to talking sports, how can you ask for a better gig, right? Like, how can you ask for a better transition than that? So, I'm blessed, man. Yeah, I love my life. So that's a little bit about me. Ambitious person. I'm a big family guy. Love everyone at my sports network, including Manny. So I'm going to shout them out whenever I get the chance, always.
Awesome. So well-versed individual right here. We got restaurant manager, DJ, podcaster,
weekend
running
superhero.
a sports website. I mean, is there anything that you're not doing, my man? I mean, are you running for Congress? Are you going to throw your hat into the presidential ring? I mean, what you going to discover a cure for cancer? I mean, what aren't you planning right now?
I guess a good magician never reveals his secrets. For me, I'm just waiting on what's next. For me, if I got to pick something, Unwrapped Sports Network is life. So everything else is more in the rear view mirror for me now. It's an everyday grind, trying to figure out how we can take steps forward with Unwrapped, as you know. So for me, I'm very focused now on one specific thing, but I can do a lot.
What was honestly the most fun, DJing or restauranting? I mean, I know you showed a true passion for a lot of those things, but which field, I guess, really piqued your interest the most?
Yeah,
besides Unwrapped, of course.
I'd say DJing is definitely the coolest. I think for me, especially at that point, I was in my early 20s and I'm able to go around the country a little bit, mainly more the West Coast, but was able to do a little bit of that and go to different colleges and different events, and some things were paid and some things weren't. But when you're a DJ, you're getting paid, a lot more than you're worth. Everything is very cash oriented, and you're able to kind of just have fun and keep it loose. But for me, I was looking for that longevity and trying to make sure that I can provide on a week by week basis. And, with DJing, there's always that in the back of your mind that it's not going to work out. I think for me, the producing side, it never jumped out to me the same way as it did for performing. So I think producers, they lock themselves in a room, they're there for 12 hours a day doing this new song. And I think that is where the money is. I think that is where the longevity is, but it's also where you need to dedicate your entire life to. And you don't really go outside, and, you're on your computer constantly. And for me, I just never fell in love with that side of it the way that I did being in front of a crowd and jumping up and down and doing things like that. So I think that's where I lost it when it came to long term. It's because I didn't want to do both sides of it. I really just wanted to have fun and perform and, be an idiot. So I think that was where the career side of it might have fallen short for me, but I had so much fun, made some good money, and led me to where I am. So I think the DJing part was definitely the most fun. Met a lot of people and did a lot of dumb things. And I think now I look back on it and I smile because it was such a great time. But during it was definitely a lot of chaos, a lot of fun, but super happy with where I'm at now. I wouldn't give it up for the world.
And why restauranting? What got you into the restaurant business?
So I started promoting in college. I did a lot of different nightclubs and day clubs and things like that. So I was definitely well versed in the party scene and was doing that for a while. And then my boss liked me a lot. He had me doing some promotional directing. So I had some other people coming and doing some promoting for me underneath me and doing party buses and other fun things like that. But he also had some restaurants. And so that's where I kind of started dabbling. And then as soon as I moved back from Arizona, because I went to Arizona State, I moved back to California and jumped into the bar/restaurant scene. So been in sports bars primarily for the majority of my career, but I was at an Asian fusion place the last time. That's this high-end place that was near the ArcLight in Hollywood, this really fancy movie theater. So I've been a little, back and forth with the restaurant/bar scene, but yeah, I think, the bar scene and alcohol and the whole party scene. And now I watch sports while I work and, it could be worse, so I think, I don't take it as seriously as other people do sometimes because like I told you with Unwrapped Sports, my head's really here, but it's always such a great fallback plan. How you can always create a bar in any scene, any city, and you can always figure it out. And I think it's a great fallback plan. It's a lot of fun. I think restauranting is one of the more stressful jobs in the world. I think people is very underestimated. People work insane hours, work with a lot of bullshit, but at the end of the day, you pick what you're doing. So I'm good at what I do. And I think other people, when they're there, they're very negative sometimes, but I'm happy because I chose to be there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, definitely.
Yeah, it's
elaborate on that a little bit. Because, like, I don't know anything about the restaurant business. And, just talk about that a little bit, about the stressful aspect of it. I mean, I can imagine it, obviously, but just kind of somebody that's in the field, that works in it, that understands the daily minutia of it. Like, just kind of elaborate on that a little bit. I find that interesting.
Yeah, of course. It's a fun, fast-paced kind of environment, but it's just very bang, bang, bang. And people are very patient when you go about it the right way, but then you'll find guys that you can kiss their feet and they're still not going to be happy with their service. They're still going to be upset. So it's sometimes you just got to pick your battles and realize who you can please, who you can't, keep it consistent. It's just you finding your way, because the restaurant business, it really shoots a lot of people down. People get very negative and actually lose a lot of confidence because of different complaints or people that just aren't the kind of people that you would hope for when you're serving sometimes, or bartending or something along those lines. But there's so much money in this business and people do expect great service. And for me personally, like I told you, I'm not going to complain because I chose to be there. So I think for people, especially when you get into restaurant management and, running a restaurant, like that's your career. You signed up for that. That's always been my mindset. If you're going to sign up for something, know what you signed up for, be there fully, work hard. So I think for me, I know exactly why I'm there. I like being there. But for the restaurant business, if you're not cut from a certain cloth, it actually spits a lot of people out. Even serving and bartending, it's not the easiest gig, most definitely not. So enough, FaceTime with certain people and the late hours and the grind. And sometimes you're there 5 days a week. You're clocking out at 2 or 3 in the morning if you work at a certain place that, extends their hours like that. So it's definitely a weekly grind and it can get to you. So the restaurant business, lots of money, lots of potential, but lots of stress. So if you can't handle it, if you're not one of those people that are good under pressure or, really things like that, I honestly wouldn't recommend getting into it. But if you like a fast-paced environment, you don't need to go to a lot of schooling for it. I got a management degree, but I didn't need it, so I think for me, you could easily start in a restaurant, move your way up. I think it's a great place for people, especially who didn't finish out college or didn't go for that degree. And I don't think it's a needed thing. I think this is a great place where go get hired as a busser, go become a server, go become a bartender. Before you know it, you'll be managing that place in, 5 years by your mid-20s, whatever that may be. And with a nice little salary, it's not a bad gig, but like I said, it'll spit you out if you're not cut from a certain cloth.
And for those folks that are not cut from a different cloth, I would imagine that you in your career restauranting, you worked with a lot of people that use the restaurant business as a transition. I mean, you yourself, in a sense, have used it kind of as a transition.
Totally.
But how do you deal with those folks that the types that are just waiters or bussing tables because they're doing it as a second gig or waiting on the next big thing to happen or whatever? How do you deal with those folks that aren't necessarily fully 100% committed? I mean, you run a sports site, so everybody that's working for you, I would think has a love or a passion for sports or journalism or whatever. So it's a little bit easier. It's a little bit easier to come into work every day, know that you have a group of people that actually want to be there, that actually want to do what they're doing, as opposed to maybe the restaurant business where maybe it's a little bit more 50-50, 75-25. I mean, you correct me, break it down for me. Like, how do you deal with the folks that are just kind of, I'm just here, the Marshawn Lynch effect. I'm just here to get fine.
I'm just here to try to get fine. No, I totally agree, man. That's definitely a good way of putting it. I think for me, you're right. At Unwrapped Sports Network, everybody wants to be here, has a shared common goal. We're all happy to be here because we're talking sports, and who doesn't want to do that? And if, I would keep it very consistent. If you don't want to be here, you don't love sports the way that we do, we don't want you here at all. So we keep that ride with us or don't ride with us at all kind of mindset. So you're right. Everyone at Unwrapped Sports Network, they get me going because when I wake up, they love sports just as much as I do. The restaurant business, not so much, so I think 50% of the people want to be there and realize the money that's in it. And the other 50% still realize the money that's in it, but maybe aren't meant for it in the same way, and it doesn't come as seamless, and they're very struggling to get through shifts, or like you said, if they're in the entertainment business and really just have one foot in, one foot out, calling out of work a lot because you have different gigs and different things. But at the same time, what other restaurant do you have as much support like that and rotating shifts that you can give up a shift and get someone to cover you so that you can go to a audition with 2 hours notice? There isn't very much leeway at a lot of different jobs, where in the restaurant business, you can't take it as seriously as some people do when it comes to people in that position. So for me, I think because I'm in Los Angeles, I understand it a little bit more, because I used to DJ and I was in college and I did all types of things. I've been there before, so I understand it. But I'll also, look at people and be like, help me help you. If you want me to help you with giving you a favorable schedule or, vacation, or really just trying to be that guy for you when you need me, I'm going to need the same in return. So it's a very scratch my back, I'll scratch yours kind of business. And as a manager, I try to be the most motivating person I can be. And I try to pull favors and give my all to everybody. So that's where it's the same with Unwrapped Sports and with any job that I do. I mean, if I'm going to be there, I'm going to work 100%. That's just how I look at things. Right. If I'm going to be doing something, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go do it. I'm going to have a good time doing it. I'm going to go look at everyone around me, try and motivate them to do it with me at a high level. And if not, there's no fun to be there. It's all about the people and working everybody up. Right. So I think for me, it just depends on the manager you work for, how much you want to be there, how seriously you want to take it. And I think that it starts from the top and trickles down. I think that's the same with every business.
How much has the restaurant business shaped your management and leadership style? Like how much of that being in that fast-paced, crazy world has shaped how you manage and you lead? Because I think you have a very exemplary and just awesome leadership style. So how did being in that fast-paced, crazy environment shape the way you lead right now?
Well, I appreciate your kind words. I would say maybe more of an asshole. I would say that's definitely first and foremost. It's definitely made me a little rougher around the edges, but I think it's taught me more patience, and I learned that I'm amazing in that sphere. So if anything, God forbid, didn't work out for me in sports or other things, I know that that's a love for me that I'm good at and can really pursue moving forward. So I would say it's made me more flexible. It's made me more patient. I've made a lot of money in it because there is a lot of money in it. And that's my word to anybody that wants to serve, bartend. Bartenders make more than I do sometimes. So it's not like you need to go there and go be a manager. It's just go be strategic with how your life is right now, the kind of hours you want to commit. If you want something a little more consistently, like a salary thing where management kind of comes into conversation, or if you just want a lot of tips and things that you can show up one day. I had a girl that's bartending. She walked out with $950 cash tips the other night. Like $950 cash, everybody. Like that's almost a grand. Yeah, you're booking $1,000 in a day, and that's to pour some drinks for people. You're not dancing. You're not doing bottle service. You're not doing anything that may be degrading to you in any way, or you may not feel comfortable doing. Bartending is cake. You're pouring some Jack and Cokes and doing some beers and, the occasional martini. It's just about schmoozing. Right. So I think bartending and being a barber are very, very close to it. I think
absolutely.
Yeah, those are two positions. If you can do one, you could probably do the other. Obviously, cutting hair, you got to have that skill, but that person to person kind of connection and the feel, you're almost a therapist at the end of the day. And you're going there, you're doing a constant stand up routine. Everybody's watching you. You always got to kind of be going around doing your thing. So yes, it's a little bit tiring, but the money is just insane. So yeah, I would say for me personally, I've realized how much money could be made with hard work, with certain personalities, with just going about it certain ways. Because I'll see one person go in there and have the same amount of tables as somebody else and walk out with $200 less. And you got to sit there and say, well, what's person A doing that person B isn't? And I'm not stressing for tips, on a personal standpoint, but I'm able to sit back and really watch and see who does what and who succeeds in certain ways. And I think for me, it's just the restaurant business is what you make it. So, you can squeeze it like a fucking lemon, get as much as you want out of that and, move on. So I think you're right. It's a great transition job. You can stick in it forever if you want to do management. But, for me, I'm taking it all the way to the top that I can, management. I've been a general manager. And then now it's kind of just, I'm here doing my job. I'm here so I don't get fined. And I'm doing things to get the paychecks, but at the end of the day, your head's elsewhere. But I've used it to its fullest. I think it's been fantastic. So I think if you got a chance to go work at a neighborhood bar or anything like that, hook up your little brother with a job busing or something like that, get him in. It's a great thing to get. If you don't get the degree or whatever, you can lean back on it. So I think it's so versatile. And I think if you guys give a shit about what I have to say, go give it a shot. It's super fun.
I'm glad you brought up the bartending thing. I dated a girl back in the day that was a bartender and was paying her way through college. And I kind of had this ignorant, thought, I guess most people have, oh, bartending. It's
it's fun.
You're not making that much money. Right. You're probably getting, minimum wage. And I was shocked. This girl would come, she would bartend Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and sometimes on Sundays, right? So she would, in that 4-day weekend or whatever, right? She would come home with $500 to $1,000 a night.
No doubt.
Easily.
Absolutely.
And I was floored by this shit. I was just wait, what? I'm thinking on a good night, maybe $200 here and there, but no, legit, on average, she would, we would see each other or whatever, and she'd be oh, I made this much, and she'd a wad of cash in her.
It's the cash too. They pull up with this bucket.
Exactly.
You go in their car and there's a bucket or something just overflowing with cash, and you're just are you serious right now? You want to share some of that? But
I'm just yo, you slinging rocks or something? What's going on here? Yo, what are you? Yeah, right. Yeah, no, it's crazy when you bring that up because I think a lot of people just have that mentality, oh, you work in a restaurant business, oh, you guys are getting minimum wage, and that's not saying that some aren't or that some jobs aren't getting as much money as others. It's like any field. It's like any field, obviously, right? But I think there's this perception of bartending and people think that they just don't make enough money or make a lot of money. No, there's definitely money in that field. Absolutely.
I agree. No, I think it's definitely a misconception. Yeah. I agree with you.
Cool. All right, man. So let's transition over to Unwrapped. I mean, what was the motivation? What were you thinking? Not in a bad way, obviously. What were you thinking? But what was the motivation? What was the thought behind creating Unwrapped Sports? Take me back to this time last year when you were getting ready to start this thing and launch this thing. What was the motivation behind it?
So I think this time last year is right when we started thinking about launching this as a whole. And we were doing podcasts just like you are right now, having a lot of fun with it. But I think right around this time last year is when I was thinking, we have a lot of talent. We have a lot of people that are inquiring to us about how they can get more involved and how they can, become guests or do consistent things, for us. And if we're doing other sports besides the ones that we were covering with our current podcast. So for me, I started thinking, why are we putting ourselves in a box? Why I do want to work with other people. I do want to have a team and really explore this. I've talked to a couple different people that have given me advice in this sphere and have been saying, it's definitely possible nowadays with the technological advances. I think now you can really whip something out of your ass if you really want to. It used to be, you go to school, you go get a journalism degree, you go intern for ESPN for 5 years unpaid. You go finally get some small gig that you get, being a beat writer somewhere that you're barely getting paid. And then you're 30 years old, 35, and finally getting on air time or finally getting a piece of some sort of pie when it comes to the sports sphere. And it's a good gig. That's great. If you want to be your favorite sports anchor, that's still a really smart way to go. But I don't even think that's needed anymore. You're listening to Any Given Sunday with Manny Brown. This is a show that you're tuning into. He didn't need to go to college to go get a degree in this specific sphere and make a podcast through a certain venue so that you can listen to it. You can come up with this in 100 different ways. So I think it's all about how creative we get nowadays. And I think with, I was saying, with the technological advances, it really made me look at it and think we can make this happen quickly. I can put out a couple posts and make a few different calls and turn this from us putting out sports content into us putting out sports content with other people, me going out and hiring a web team and just doing it piece by piece. I think that's for me. I saw a vision and I've always wanted to talk sports. I've always wanted to figure out some sort of career in this market, but I didn't want to go to school for it, man. I didn't want to sit there and do the traditional route. I didn't want to go be a sports journalist. That's not where my heart is. I don't do articles. I'm going to probably do one every once in a while, but I don't sit there and do articles. I'm not sitting there doing interviews with people. I do like, being at press conferences and doing things like that. I've been there. I've done that. I'm going to continue to try and do interesting, fun things like that. But, that's not where my heart is. It's facilitating. It's making this huge thing happen and having amazing people like you inviting me onto your podcast and you putting out stuff weekly, and someone else puts out amazing written content and somebody else is doing their live streaming and somebody else is doing this and everybody's talking about it. And I think for me, it's getting that buzz going and really finding a way to connect with people and take it into talking sports together. So for me, I've always been able to connect with people. I'm great at, business. I'm great at the restaurant business. I was actually the president of a fraternity in college, and I've been really up at the top doing different kind of business ventures for quite a while. And some things more official than others, but I think at the end of the day, it always had to do with how well I was able to connect with people, how well I was able to get everybody to come together for a common goal and work hard towards something. And I think this was the same mindset. And it was, why not? Who wants to talk sports? Anybody? Who wants to talk sports for a living? Who wants to figure it out with me? Anybody? And I got a lot of people that, are dumb enough to take that chance with me. But at the same time, I'm blessed that people are able to kind of share this vision with me. Really, I've been able to paint out a picture for them and they're able to get excited with me. And I'm here to open my ears to any ideas and anything always, because I just think having so many different talented people in one group is going to come up with literally every way that you can succeed in this market. We're going to figure out every single little tiny niche and every way you can monetize and every way that you can really do this for a living. And we're going to go do that. So I think that's, for me, more of a vision and less concrete direction. And that's the whole fun of it. You got to just enjoy the journey. And I wake up every day stressed and tired, but motivated and happy and really working towards doing what I hope I can do for the rest of my life, not have to serve another dish or another drink and be able to just sit here and talk sports and wake up and figure out more ways to go do those things and go make money off it. I think that is the dream. And I think if anybody wants to start working towards that dream, hit me up. I'd love to bring you on to Unwrapped Sports and try and figure out ways that we can get you involved and work towards that common goal together. But it just starts by putting the right people in the right places and waking up and knowing that you're having fun with what you do. Because for me, it's, for this isn't work. I didn't sleep much last night. I worked pretty late, but I'm up. I want to talk. I'm not sitting here, hey, what's up, Manny? Thanks for bringing me on, bro. Like I'm jived to be here. Like I love talking about sports and with people that I have a genuine connection with. So, I love this shit. I'm going to go watch football after this. So I think when you love something, you don't work a day in your life. And I think if you can get to that point, kill someone doing it, kill someone to get to that point. Because if you don't, you're going to hate your life. So just like keep working hard and figure out what it is that, you really love.
Absolutely. I couldn't put it better myself. Yeah. I mean, how refreshing is it that you work with a bunch of people that actually want to be there, that actually love the same, that have the same interests, the same work ethic, the same common goals as you. Cause I know that was the biggest challenge for me when I got into podcasting, right? A lot of times when you start something new, you tend to have this kind of very, insulated mindset. Like when I started podcasting, I brought some of my friends along with me and people that I knew, right? Cause your comfort level is there.
Of course.
And it didn't work out. And not knocking those people, they had different goals. They had different mentalities. They had different, and my wife was the person that just like, you can't teach everybody how to have your grind. You can't teach everybody how to have everybody doesn't have your dream.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So that was the biggest thing that I had to get over. So, just being in a communal sense in a community like that, like Unwrapped Sports, or I'm sure people that work at Bleacher or people that work at SB Nation or wherever that have that same goal, have that same kind of common ground that they want to do the same things and all want to progress in this field. It's quite refreshing and it's just motivating as fuck.
Yeah, dude, it really is, man. Now, for real, I wake up and I'm motivated, I'm jived up, and I know everybody else is around me. So I think that's where it goes from work to a passion. And I think we've both found it. And I think we're both going to continue to find it. But It's just the beginning. And you're 100% right. And you can't teach someone your grind. Not everyone is a workhorse. Not everyone can, take 25 carries a game. Like, not everyone is built for it. So some people are. Some people, it's like, dude, I just took 25 carries. You can put me right back in the game and give me another 25. But other people are dying at the end of that. And other people didn't even want to go in the game at all. So it's just a different type of people. And they're all can be productive in different ways and provide in different ways. So nobody's useless unless you make yourself useless. But you're right. Not everyone, like I keep kind of referring to, is cut from the same cloth. That's just a really good way of putting it. Some people are, some people aren't.
It's a part of leadership too. It's a part of great leadership is finding the strengths in everybody,
Of course.
And, finding where that person's most useful. I think that's the biggest issues going on in our society right now, even from a work perspective. It's like you got a lot of managers and a lot of people that are put in quote unquote leadership positions, but they're not leaders. And to me, it's something like, it's like leadership, just being in the military and just, my background, like leadership is not something that you can teach. It's something that is just innate. That's a quality that somebody has. Like either you have it or you don't. Some people are great workers, but they're not great leaders. Some people are great followers, not great leaders or teachers or whatever. And I think that's the problem that I think we just think that, we'll just put, Joe Blow in that position and he'll be a great leader. Or we'll put this person in that position and he'll be a great leader. So I think, like you said, finding the strengths in everybody and knowing, okay, this person may not be great at writing, so we'll put him in podcasting or live streaming or whatever.
Thank you for your service. First off, I didn't know that you served. I'm going to flip the question on you and ask you just a little bit about your time serving. I want to hear a little bit about that.
Oh, no, man. I mean, I was 19 years old. Wasn't really doing anything with my life at that point. I wanted to go to school, couldn't afford it. I was grew up in a single parent home. My mom couldn't afford to send me to school. I could have did the financial aid route and all that good stuff, but I just was like, I didn't want to do that. I knew I wanted to do something. I didn't know what that was at that point. I was 19, didn't really have any direction in my life at that point. So I was like, my brother was already serving. He had served in the military at that point when I was 19. He had already been in the Army almost 10 years, almost.
Crazy.
No, it was like 5-6 years that he had been in the military, but, and he was a recruiter. So I was just like, he always kind of kept putting the bug in my ear of like, hey, join.
Right.
I was like, man, whatever. The typical 18, 19-year-old kid, partying, doing dumb shit. Like, well, I ain't going to do that shit. I'm not going to go fight Bush's war. All the ignorant shit that you could like think that you're in your head, you could process. Like, I'm not doing that shit. Right. So I just like, I don't know. I just like, I'm the type of person that I just get epiphanies like randomly. Like I'll just wake up one day. I'll just wake up one day. I'm like, I'm just tired. I'm just tired of this shit. Like I was just like, I'm just tired of this. I'm tired of like I saw my friends and we were just going through this like cycle of just like partying, bullshit, waking up the next day. Yeah. Partying and bullshit. And it's fun. But when you're somebody that just naturally wants more in life, you're just like more out of life, like you're just like, I want more than this. So I just got tired one day. I just got fed up. I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I just, I called my brother up and I was like, yo, I'm just ready to join. And he was just stunned. Like he dropped the phone. Like what? So, long story short, I went through, I did, signed up, did all that. And I did, 4.5, almost 5 years, man. I had to get out, because I hurt my back in combat, but man, I did 4.5 years. I had no expectation. Crazy. I had like no concept of what I was doing or what expectation I was going to have. And it was honestly the best 5 years of my life. Honestly, like I had so much fun. I met some incredible people that I'm friends with to this day, people that I'll be friends with to the day I die. Like, you know what I mean? Like it was so much fun. It's like anything. You had good days. You had bad days. You had days where you wanted to punch the shit out of somebody and you had days where you fucking loved coming to work. I mean, it was just one of those things. I knew it wasn't for me long term, like, cause that's the comment, like, oh, why did you do 20 or 30? Like, I always knew that the military was a launching pad. It was a launching pad to other things that I wanted to do. And I could put that on a resume and, instantly people were like, oh, you served. So that shows that you have commitments and leadership,
dedication.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So that was a little bit of that. yeah, man, that's my little story there.
That's phenomenal. That's crazy, man. I had no idea. I wanted to flip it around to ask you a little bit about that. So you said it was the Army, right?
No, it's good. Yeah, it was the Army. Yeah, I don't talk about it as much as I should. My wife always tells me I should talk about it more, but the people that know me know it. So,
well, there it is. Any Given Sunday fans, there's your PSA. I ripped it out of Manny, so now you know a little bit more about him.
I've talked about it on the show before. I've talked about it on the show before. So my ardent listeners, they know, but just random folks or people that I communicate with randomly, they probably may not know unless I just share it. But no, man, I'm proud of my
admirable, man, and I'm proud to be talking with you, and I'm proud to be working with you side by side. You're a great dude, so thank you again for your service. I appreciate that, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, man. Unwrapped. So, how do you just going back to Iraq for a little bit? Like, how do you? Sure. Obviously, you created this website. It's going great. It's growing. You have a lot of ideas, a lot of visions. How do you in this sphere, in this era of obviously Bleacher Report exists, SB Nation, a bunch of other startups like us in Unwrapped Sports. How do you set us apart? How do you set Unwrapped apart from the Bleachers and SB Nation and, name other sites, whatever? How do you set Unwrapped Sports apart from those other sites? Yeah,
that's a great question. I think it all starts from trying to be creative and go research ways that people aren't already being successful on top of course, right, proven success. You want to emulate what other people are doing that people demand, that people really want to digest. And, the way that certain people went and made that a legitimate business, you want to go seek those ways out. But at the end of the day, everyone's got to make it on their own and make it differently. And I think the one thing that we have that is very unique is we have such a concentration and such a saturation in streaming and podcasting and so much audio coming from us that I don't see a lot of podcast networks, and I wouldn't even consider us just a podcast network, but we got 20, 30 of them, and can continue to work on that and change things. But I think it's just our ability to. And
they're all different, by the way, too. They're not all just like boilerplate. Hey, this is a podcast about this. Like, no,
totally.
They're all different. Yeah.
Dude, listen to, Finish Line guys, Manny, these are fun loving guys that are just having fun and shooting the shit and really take it down to that casual level of you listen and you're smiling and you're enjoying it and you're really like indulged in it. And then there's other guys that I got the network that are very serious and, do certain cities or certain teams and are just very bang, bang, bang. We'll give you more matchup breakdowns and, game recaps and stuff. So you can find anything from A to B. And I think that's where, for us, it's trying to stay unique and stay consistent, but very spread out. We can cover so many different things. And dude, if you write soccer, if you write cricket, like if you write any of this, like come to me, come to Unwrapped Sports Network. Like, I don't give a shit what you do. Like if you like something, someone else likes it too. Like if you have the passion to put out content, I promise you someone's out there waiting for that content. So I think it's me not being too big for anything.
What you just said, and think about what you just said for a second, right? If you go to ESPN and say, I want to write about cricket, they'll probably look at you like you got fucking 3 heads. Like, what? Cricket?
Totally.
Like,
they're going to be like, that's not a money market, But for me, I think anything could be. Think about esports right now, dude. Think about all these other things. Like, there's so many things that we can try. And I think for me, it's the willingness to try those things and really giving you guys leeway to do those things and try those things. And when I figure out more and more and more, I keep you guys updated, adjust what we're doing. Before we only had writers. Then we said, we should really be bringing on other people that can, host podcasts that aren't ours. We changed that. Then we added streaming sponsorship, and I'll spend a quick minute because Sportscaster, first off, SPORTSCASTR. So sportscaster.com/unwrapped. Find everybody on there doing crazy stuff in the live streaming aspect. So wanted to shout out Nick, Coach, everybody else that's at Sportscaster that puts in that work to make this such an amazing app and keep it fun and interactive. Yeah, working hard with me to, create a program and get us involved. So definitely a huge shout out to you guys. And I'm going to be driving them over to this episode, get them listening on this. And if you haven't already, go download Sportscaster on Apple. You can go online to sportscaster.com. But yeah, man, that's just been really, I think the first step towards us really monetizing one, but also, being different. I don't see any other sports network that does consistent live streaming. And on top of podcasting, on top is, writing and things like that. So I think it's for us just finding more ways for us to be a jack of all trades and do so many things. And we'll figure out which ones work the best and highlight those things. But I think we have more than Bleacher Report and other things. I think we have more layers. It's more than just here's what we got going on. The second we create an app, what else do they have that we don't? So I think for us, it's, an app, down the line. But I think that's just inevitable for anybody in 2019, 2020. Everything is digitalized and everything is on a website or on an app. So I would love to do that soon. So, be on the lookout. Unwrapped app coming up soon. But
it's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, it'll come, So I think for us, it's just that the live streaming and podcasting that we do and having so many different personalities with us. I think that is going to really sell for us long term. And we're going to continue to attack different public speaking ventures and different things like that as a group instead of just a couple big names and a bunch of writers and other things like that. We have so many powerhouse personalities here that I think that we're going to be so successful in the audio sphere, and I'm going to figure out everything else.
Awesome. What's been the hardest part of Unwrapped? Like in this year and a half journey that you've been on, what has been like legit the hardest shit that you had to go through?
That's a good question. I think it's really keeping the vision in your mind. I think a lot of the times you're like, I'm not making money off this. We're not doing anything really. And especially in the beginning where it's like, we're not sure exactly what the direction is. We're not sure exactly what the plan is, but we just have all these visions and, all of these ideas, and we're trying to emulate different things and really try and put our personal touch on it. I think it's really keeping that vision in mind and sharing that with Christian and Corbin, who would be my co-founders, and finding ways to get them more involved with me and finding ways to, blend all of our ideas into one and working hand in hand to change the direction of the company has definitely been the hardest part. Because for me, like I told you, the people aspect is easy, talking to you guys on the phone, keeping you guys motivated, recruiting, keeping you guys up kept. It sounds really hard, but for me, it's a pleasure and I'm very good at it. And I enjoy being there hands on with you guys, but keeping that vision in mind and being like, all right, let's just keep chugging forward. Let's keep doing it. This one didn't work, but let's try something else. Let's keep moving forward. I think it's the ability to just move forward and not let things really get to you. I think that is really been the hardest part, but at the same time, it's been probably the most rewarding part. You learn a lot of lessons throughout. I think your failures are more important than your successes. So
absolutely.
For me, I'm a recovered addict. I've OD'd multiple times. I shouldn't be here anymore. So, for me, it's just all a second chance, and that's why I look at life so positively and why I'll always gas up everybody around me and show love whenever I can. Cause, I shouldn't be able to show love at all, and for me, it's, I've almost been there, I've almost screwed up my life. So I think for anyone else out there, just keep a vision in mind. If that's for your business or your life, whatever that may be, just keep it in mind, because as soon as you lose it, you lose your head. And I've been there like so many times. So I just think it's keep that vision in line, keep your successes close, but keep your failures closer, use those as the motivation and just keep chugging forward. So I think it's the hardest thing to do, but very rewarding. And I think as long as you keep your head straight, you can make amazing thing happen. It's just, you got to keep your head straight.
Awesome. Absolutely, man. So if I was to basically grill you and say Unwrapped Sports in 5 years, in 2025, where do you see Unwrapped Sports being?
A fully functioning business. I think I won't be working another day in my life besides this. I think we'll have a full headquarters by that point. I think we're going to have other people that we're able to pay on a yearly basis that don't have to work besides us as well. So I think in 5 years, I don't see why this wouldn't continue to legitimize and make more money and continue to get more opportunities and strengthen this family. So I think catch us in 5 years, be a well-oiled machine, working off what we have now. But dude, 5 years, so much can change, man. The technology nowadays and how everyone is just doing different niches. I have no idea, but I think that is just so fun. I just think that is some of the best. To say I have no idea, but I'm excited for that. It's such a great feeling, because when you're like, dude, I have no idea and I'm shitting bricks, I really feel the pressure. It's breathing down my fucking neck, That is a different kind of mindset. I think for me, it's just like, let's get it. Like, what is it? You have ideas, tell me. You want to talk, let's talk. You want to do it, let's do it. Like, and I think it's, eventually I'll look at myself in the mirror and say, I'm proud of, what we're doing right now. I'm happy with how we're doing it. And, what else can we do differently? And I think it's just looking at yourself in the mirror a few different times and, evaluating what you're doing. And if you're doing it the way you want to be doing it, I'm going to do that a few more times, in the next few years. So I can only imagine, like you said, the epiphanies, I'm waiting for those epiphanies to hit. So,
and the biggest thing, man, and let's say it doesn't work for whatever reason. Unfortunately, it doesn't work. At least you took the chance. At least you went in, you did it. You
give it a shot.
That's the biggest thing. Like, that's what I mostly think about with this podcast. Like, I don't know where this podcast will be in 5 years. I don't know what it'll be in 3 years, in 2 years. Right. But at least I know that if it failed, at least I did it. I did it my way. I did it how I wanted to do it. And if it failed, at least I know it failed, but I tried it.
Yeah, I give it 100%. If you say you generally say you gave it 100%, you tried, that's a W. That is a serious W. Yep. No matter what you get at the end, if you literally said, I didn't waste my last few years of my life, I had a great time doing it, I'd do it again. That's great, man. I think that's life. We missed too many years.
How many people relatives, people that we were growing up with that, I wish I would have did this, or I wish that I would have done that, in my day. So many. You know what I mean?
So many. Yeah. I'm never going to say that in my life. I'm never, ever going to say, I wish I did this. I wish I did that. I'm going to say, goddamn, I did everything I wanted to do. And if I didn't, if I failed, I failed doing something fun, or I failed doing something that I thought was going to work that didn't, but throughout the whole time, I kept a smile on my face and I kept working my ass off, and that's going to be it. That's the story of life. You got to stay positive.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, man. All right, real quick before we get out of here, man, just anything current events wise. Obviously, we talk so much about business and the site itself, but you're a huge sports fan. So what's on your mind right now, man?
Dude, let's talk about Myles Garrett. Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second.
Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph. I just want to give my 2 cents on it because I see other people.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, I give people kind of blaming both sides, and I hear race coming into this sometimes. I'm like, what is going on? For me, I hate when that gets brought up, because if Myles Garrett had an issue with anything that he said racially, I promise you he would have said that in the post-game interview. I would for Mason Rudolph to be suspended, not be in the league. I want good people that do good work, that treat people right. And I don't care what race you are. If you're transgender, if you are anybody, I do not care what you are, who you are, or how you do it. As long as you're a good person and work hard, that's all that matters to me. So I think the race part of this, people got to stop making something that isn't there.
It's stupid. It's bound to happen with anything. If Mason Rudolph was black, race wouldn't have been thrown in.
That's what I'm saying.
I ignore it because it's noise. Right. It's people that are trying to find an angle. It's like this. They're trying to Zapruder film this shit. Like, let me see. Well, look, you can tell his lips are forming N words. Look, I can see it right now. Like you're searching for shit that's not there.
Oh my God, man. I agree. And I think for me at this point, Mason Rudolph, yeah, dude, you're a little bitch. You see the dude grabbing his groin. You see him trying to rip off his helmet. Like, you're one of those dudes. You're that dude. We've all had that dude. Mason Rudolph will always be that dude. The dude that pisses people off. You always want to punch him in the face. Like, always talking shit. Like, that's that dude. Myles Garrett, one of the more talented people I've actually ever watched play football. He is actually insane. He's also an idiot when it comes to late game penalties. Absolutely. He doesn't keep his head straight, and he's had a history of making the play, but then keeping his foot down on their throat to be like, give me back those 15 yards for this penalty, So I think for him, this really hurts his reputation, because no matter what that dude does, you're always gonna have that dude in your face yapping like a little fucking chihuahua, but you don't rip off his helmet and hit him in the head with it. So I think for him, he was wrong with his last action, but I could totally see where he got driven to that point. Mason Rudolph was clearly instigating. He clearly was probably grabbing his nuts the whole game. I watched it 3 times. Like, you're going to grab a dude's nuts, get up and call him a bitch. Like, yeah, bro, like, I'm going to hit you in the head with my helmet too. But I'm also not getting paid millions of dollars on live television with a ton of fans. So I think that's where, dude, you technically, what is that? Battery with a deadly weapon? You know, assault with a deadly
weapon. Like, people don't understand. Like, yo, you hit this man with a fucking helmet.
Like, bro, if I hit someone with a helmet right now, I go outside and hit someone with a helmet, or I go to a bar and hit someone with a helmet. I promise you,
I'm going to jail.
I promise you, I'm in jail.
Absolutely.
I don't care who I am. I'm in jail, bro. You know, plain and simple. So I think that's for me. I get it. They're athletes or whatever, but like, are we serious? Did we really just watch this dude hit this dude with his helmet? You know, I don't know.
I was shocked. I was sitting there. I was sitting there dozing off because, you know, I'm just fucking tired. It's a boring ass game. So I'm sitting there like dozing off, and I just happened to wake up as that play is happening. So right before, you know, skirmish happens. And I had to do a double take. Like, yo, did this motherfucker really just hit this dude with a fucking helmet?
That's what I said, dude.
Like, I was just sitting there like just look, and the people that are trying to defend, like, and I love how, oh, I'm not defending Myles Garrett, but I'm just saying that Mason Rudolph. I'm like, no, you are, like, by you saying that, you are essentially choosing sides. You're
right.
Like, there is no sides to choose. Look, Mason Rudolph is an idiot. He's a bitch. He was probably getting on people's nerves the entire game. Right. He was having a terrible game. First of all, he threw 4 interceptions, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he had a
terrible fucking game. Yeah, well, that's a whole nother situation. But you had a terrible game, and then you're talking shit. Like, yes, look, I'm good with the fight. I'm good with the brawl, but to me, that doesn't excuse being hit with a helmet. Like, right. like the people that are trying to say, like, oh, well, he started it first. I don't care. It's like when you're like, I have kids. Like, when my 2 oldest fight, oh, well, she started it. Well, he started it. Yeah, that doesn't give you the right to hit her with a baseball bat. Like,
so, dude, 100%.
Like, exactly. It's like 2 wrongs don't make a right. Like, once you go to the extreme, only the extreme counts now. Like,
and that's just fighting.
You can't reverse that. Yeah.
If we're talking Myles Garrett clocked this guy clear in the face, we'd still be like, you can't do that. You know, you still can't do that. But at the end of the day, like, we're talking ripping off a helmet and hitting a guy across the head with it. That's just letting your temper get too much. Yeah, you're letting, at this point, you're letting him win.
What if he would have connected with full force? Or
dude, what if he hit him in the temple? Yeah, if you would have caught him in the temple, that guy's out like a light, bro.
Imagine, and I'm not defending Mason Rudolph, but that kid also had a pretty ugly concussion just a few weeks ago. Right. Like, you don't know what the fucking happened, man. Like, it's so much thing. Remember in the 70s with that Rudy Tomjanovich fight, like, the dude ended up knocked out. Like, that cost that man his career. Like, the people, like, in the moment, people don't think about these things, but this shit could, like, you can hurt somebody.
For real. No,
you know what I mean? Like, you like, people shouldn't be making light of that. Again, Mason Rudolph is a bitch, and he probably had that coming to him. That still doesn't excuse. That still doesn't excuse it.
And you're still on national television. Look, you have fans. You know, you got to really look after your personal brand too.
Exactly.
This can't be a good look. You know, there's no way it's a good look.
It's not a good look. And the worst part about this is that, what are we talking about? We're not talking about the talents of Myles Garrett. We're not talking about I think he has like 16, 17 sacks or whatever. Like, we're not talking about that. We're talking about late game penalties. We're talking about things that he does after the whistle. I mean, you can make the case that Myles Garrett, I mean, a lot of people were making this case that he's a dirty player. Like, all the, right. I mean, you know, all the hits on the quarterbacks late, the cheap shots, shit like that. Like, this is what, and you don't want this to be the narrative. You don't want this to be now what everybody thinks about with Myles Garrett. Like, you don't want, now, unfortunately, it's like the Ron Artest and the brawl in Detroit. Like for years, this is what people are going to think about now when they think about Myles Garrett. Not the football player, not the sacks, not the fucking raw skill and ability. It's this. That's the sad part about all this.
I totally agree. This is going to be what defines his career. So, I mean, that's where I wanted to bring it up. I think, I don't care what player it is, who it is, what situation. You know, if you're throwing hands, I guess that's one thing, and that's still not okay. But don't use your helmet.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah, helmets.
Don't be a coward like that. Come on, Myles Garrett would absolutely destroy Mason Rudolph too. In a fight, you want to square up mano y mano. There's not even a chance. You don't even need the helmet, bro. You know what I mean? Like, put it down. Like, you don't need it.
Yes. It's crazy. One of the craziest shit I've literally I've watched football for
my mouth was dropped. I was like, never seen that. That was like Thursday Night Raw. I know you're a wrestling guy, so I was like, where's Vince McMahon on across
WWE shit?
Yeah, Vince pops around the corner. He's like, there's the XFL ad. You know,
there he goes, right? Yeah. Yeah. Before we go, man, any thoughts on the Kaepernick workout?
I think he looked solid. I think his posture and things like that looked a little wonky, that I think anybody would after being out of the game for 3 years. But dude, his arm strength looked phenomenal. His accuracy still looked like it was there. His head is always in the game. His head's always in the game.
Right.
That's the last thing I'm going to doubt is Colin Kaepernick's mind space. So I think for me, if you're going to compare him to backups, let's not say starter right now. Let's put him in the backup sphere. He's 100% better than 75% of the backups that are in this league, if not 100% of the backups. Absolutely. He's identical to, bring in Tyrod Taylor, any of these guys. I guess you can use that as a similarity kind of gauge for him.
Well, let's just run him down right now. Is he better than Ryan Fitzpatrick and whoever Miami has playing quarterback?
Absolutely. Especially yes. Josh Rosen. Yeah, give him over right? Josh Rosen.
Absolutely. For sure. Yes. Is he better than Andy Dalton and Ryan Finley?
Oh yeah.
Is he better than I don't know, whoever's playing quarterback in Denver?
Flacco or Brandon Allen, of course. Yeah, no doubt about it. In my opinion,
is he better than Trubisky?
Yes, dude.
Is he better than Trubisky?
Heck yeah, dude. I'll put him in my starting lineup right now.
We're going into starter territory right now. Like, is he better than Trubisky? Yeah, absolutely.
And if you really want to put him in top 10 backup sphere, looking at guys like Ryan Tannehill, who put himself in that position. He's in that Ryan Tannehill tier where he's good enough to start. He's good enough to be a backup. He's right there on the border and he can make it happen at any time. But he's definitely better than like Matt Moore and like Chase Daniel, like all these guys that are just true backups with no potential to start. We're just talking about backups.
Please. Has a job in the NFL. Geno Smith.
Bro, Nathan Peterman has a job. Get out of here. You know what I mean?
God,
there's no way that we're going to say Kaepernick doesn't belong in the NFL. Like, absolutely. If you want to sit there and kneel, if you want to kneel every game, if you want to do what you believe is right, dude, go for it. I don't give a shit. Like I continue to say, I'm a results-driven guy. I don't care who you are, what you are, or how you do it. Like if you're going to show up and do your job better than other people around you, dude, come in fishnet stockings and heels. Like I don't give a shit. As long as you're putting people on blast and throwing for 300 yards a game, go for it. So I don't really mind Kaepernick's off the field stuff. I think he's a great guy. I think he's an even better guy than football player. But I think as a football player, he's still 31 or 31, 32, whatever it may be. He's only got so many years left in his athletic prime. Let's blow the top off. Let's bring Cap back.
So do you think this is just guns to your head right now?
I really do. I really think it's going to happen. Really? I really do. Like the NFL's, it's a bad look. He's been so smart. He was like, okay, you want to make my workout a little more private? I'm going to move it to this open high school.
That was a genius move. That was a genius move.
You think Kaepernick is dumb? Like, get out of here. Like, that guy has been calculating this moment for 3 years now. That 90-second speech that he made at the end of it has been written and repeated for a year or two now. And the guy murdered it. He sat there. He said, What's up? Ball's in your court. Like, let's go. You know what I mean? Like, drop the mic. I was like, bro, that is a confident dude. That is 90 seconds. He got up, knew what he wanted to say, put his shit on the field, and said, the ball's in your court. I'll be waiting to hear from all 32 of you. If one of those 32 don't reach out, it's going to be a really bad look for the NFL.
Yeah, man. I just don't. I'm with you. I want to believe that it's going to happen. I just think these people have stuck their nose in the ground, and I just think I don't know, man. I don't see it just because. Like, what incentive do they have to do it? They've already had 3 years of bad publicity. Like, what? As long as they're still drawing $25 million to watch Sunday football games, and they're still getting $100 million for the Super Bowl, what incentive do they have to go out there and sign Colin Kaepernick? Besides just bad publicity. Like, that's what I tell people all the time. Like, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And again, I want Kaepernick to be signed.
People do say, well, how does he do it if he had this lawsuit against the NFL and stuff like that? Eric Reed was mano a mano with that lawsuit. He's in the NFL right now playing.
How did he sue the NFL? How many times?
That's what I'm saying. He's playing.
Exactly.
So it's not like they technically can void that. They kind of have to allow him.
Yeah.
Like, I think
your lips to God's ears, man. I
think it's less of the NFL and them allowing it right now, and more of like one of the owners being like, "All right, cool. I guess I just got to be that dude right now." Like, clearly, our quarterback situation sucks. Clearly, there's a good quarterback there, pretty much telling us to sign him, and they're also going to look at the sample size that they're going to work with.
Like if you're a Denver Bronco right now, like if you're John Elway, why don't you sign Colin Kaepernick?
Why
like,
not?
Like,
absolutely.
What do you have to lose?
Exactly.
Realistically, like, what do you have to lose?
Dude, even the Bengals, like what? Are you going to ride with Ryan Finley for the rest of the year? Really believe that that's going to take you the problem? Like you're fighting for the number 1 pick right now. I mean, the Redskins, obviously I wouldn't go that route because I like Dwayne Haskins and at least having him try and get those reps and progress throughout the year. But other than that, who's the other team that's way down there at the bottom? The Jets, they already got a quarterback. So I think there's a couple teams that it's why not? Like just do it, try it out for like 6-7 games and to see if it works. And if not, at least you get a little good PR mix and you get
you dead it. And you dead the conversation.
Right,
okay,
exactly.
We finally gave him a job. Okay, finally.
And if he sucks for the rest of this year, then we can all sit there and say, okay, I don't believe he's at the same caliber as some other quarterbacks in this league. But if you're going to base this off the kind of person he is and tell me that we're going to go out there and sign some of these quarterbacks that we have right now over him, just purely off skill, that's ignorant. So I think at this point, he'd had a perfect workout for what he's trying to go for. Very open. He kept saying the word transparency. I like the word transparency. I think he did a good job with that. I think everyone can see it. They can judge how he looked as a football player. And if we don't want to make a move on that, that's on us. And he said, the ball's in your court. I agree.
Absolutely. Hey man, your lips to God's ears, man. I hope it happens. I guess I'm just so browbeaten by it and just so like, I don't have a defeatist attitude normally in life, but I have a defeatist attitude when it comes to this because I just feel like the fix is in. I mean, had he not pulled that fucking move yesterday, the fix was in. The NFL was going to hold that private workout. They were going to say, oh, well, he looked terrible. He had nothing to offer. None of the media would have been there. There would have been nobody to cooperate.
You can't twist it now. Can't twist it now.
Yeah, they can't twist it. So
it just is what it is. Yeah. I mean, this is going to be the most raw, real chance he's going to get. Absolutely.
Let's hope, man. Hey, man, it was a blast having you on, talking to you, having you on the show. I mean, we talked before, obviously, but having you on the podcast is just another level of
it's been so fun.
Yeah, another level of just entertainment and just pure joy to talk to you, man. So before you go, man, just plug everything. Sell, unwrap, sell yourself, sell everything we got going on, coming up, do that.
Let's get it, guys. We got unwrappedsports.com. You can go check us out at sportscaster.com, SPORTSCASTR. Just like the weekend, just the little short end, weekend with just the ND. It's the same thing with Sportscaster. They try to keep it sleek. /unwrapped. You can find all of our stuff on there. Lots of fun. Of course, listen to Any Given Sunday and all the rest of our podcasts. Find them on unwrappedsports.com as well. Go to our Twitter at Unwrapped Sports. You're going to find us tweeting out every article, every podcast, every stream, all of these different polls, interactive stuff. So come have fun with us. We are having a great time online. So come check us out. We're just now on Instagram. So go find us on there. That's new for us. So we're going to be trying that out at Unwrapped Sports. Follow me at Perry Aston pretty much everywhere. Really nothing else, just Perry Aston except Sportscaster. You'll see USN at the end of my name. But other than that, so much to come. The gambling department is now live for USN. It's still the beginning of it, but if you love betting and gambling, we got that going on. And college sports is going to start getting more active for us. We're killing it with basketball and football and martial arts. So be on the lookout for more sports. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what kind of content you want to digest, how you want to digest it. We're going to try and make it happen. Keep listening to Any Given Sunday and the rest of these guys' pods, because they are amazing people doing amazing work. And I couldn't be prouder to jump on your pod with you today, Manny. So I just wanted to thank you so much for bringing me on and for giving me a little platform, tell a little bit about my story. That was really fun to do. And hopefully send some positive messages to some people out there that are living their dream or want to or have aspirations and kind of just needed a little pep talk. So if you needed a little motivation, turn on any of Manny's episodes. But hopefully this one with me resonates with you. So thank you again for having me on, man. It was such a pleasure.
Oh, no doubt, man. It's the first of many. Next time we'll have you on, we'll just do more of a straightforward sports conversation.
Yeah, we'll talk just sports. Yeah. Thank you for listening to my bullshit today.
One little thing. You are recruiting still, so anybody that's interested, hit Perry up, man, for real.
Totally, man. We got directors on certain departments now too, so you can hit me up or any of the pages. You'll see directors on there too, so you can hit them up. So a lot more people on the ground that want to meet you, that want to work with you. So if you want to work with us, contact us at Unwrapped Sports. Got a great family here. So.
Awesome, man. We're going to get up out of here. We're going to enjoy some football. But before we go, man, thank you guys. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for subscribing, for supporting the show. Without you guys, there is no podcast. I will never, ever, ever, ever stop saying that. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast each and every week. As always, you can follow the show on Twitter at AGS Pod, on Instagram, AGS Podcast, Facebook, Any Given Sunday. Follow me on Twitter at DManuel Brown, Instagram, DManuel Brown, Snapchat, MannyBro15. Man, we're going to get up out of here. Enjoy our Sunday afternoon. Please be back next week with another episode of the podcast. For Perry Aston, I am Manny Brown. We are out of here. Peace.
Serious sound.
Guys, I'll make this quick so you can get back to your murder podcast or whatever you're listening to. I'm Drama from Group Chat, the #1 podcast in the world. We make cool people smarter and smart people cooler. Seriously. Our topics range from Kim Kardashian to Jeff Bezos to Donald Trump and everything in between. If you want to be entertained and educated, check us out right now in the podcast app. Just search Group Chat. By the way, the ex-boyfriend isn't the killer. It's her best friend who is. Sorry for ruining that. But now that you have a little bit more time, give us a listen.